Here's a true story about my client, Robert, who got so good with women that one of them actually broke into his house uninvited and she was stalking him, and how you can get this good too, but hopefully without the negative consequences. So Robert and I started to work together on a couple different things. First one was texting, really learning how to get a phone number fast and how to use the internet to get real people to show up to real dates, right? And the other thing was, using social media to be, the inputs to our funnel, really to have a system of meeting up with quality women that weren't necessarily going to be on dating apps. And as he started to play around with this stuff, really kind of as his first wave of girls, he ended up meeting a handful of different girls. And these girls he was spending time with as he was getting better. This was before he took off, because Robert did incredibly well in the program. But he met his first wave of girls. And one of these girls he kind of went back and forth with for a while, went on a handful of dates and whatnot. And nothing really came of it, but he would talk to her here and there. Some weeks he would see her, some weeks, they would cancel, whatever. But eventually he got better and better with these skills of texting and using Facebook to meet a ton of different girls. And eventually he couldn't dedicate to her the same amount of time as he was with the new girls he was meeting. And if you understand anything about attraction, when a man's attention starts to dwindle, in some cases, for example, maybe a high self-esteem woman, she might not like that. She might say, you know what, this guy doesn't like me, I'm going to move on. But in many cases, especially with a low self-esteem woman, it's going to do nothing but attract her more when the guy's attention starts to drip away. And that's exactly what happened in this case. Robert was meeting new women every single day. He was getting phone numbers, like multiple phone numbers every single day, setting up multiple dates for himself every single weekend. He didn't have the same amount of time to devote to this girl that he met early on. So I think there was some resistance from her, a little bit of drama here and there. And I think he ultimately just kind of removed his attention. But that wasn't where the story ended. So at some point later in the future, after he'd stopped talking to her, he had some girl over at his house. He heard the door open. And to be honest, I don't remember the specifics of the story, but it was later confirmed through this girl's friend that it was in fact the girl who wouldn't stop texting him, like he had to ignore her at this point. And she did come over and try to get into his house. Now, we all know that this is not a good thing. It's not something you want to bring into your life. And there's a responsibility for a guy that is good with women to make sure that he isn't sending the wrong signals, that he's not encouraging this type of thing, or, it's important for us to not let people down and to hurt them. But the reason I'm telling this story is because it goes to show that when you do the right things, when you understand attraction, okay, you have a certain kind of effect on a woman. We don't want this kind of effect, but it goes to show the potency. And if a woman with a higher level of self-esteem, a woman that you actually want to win over, if a lower self-esteem woman can be affected in this way, we know there's going to be, to some degree, a lesser effect on a higher self-esteem woman. And she's going to be intrigued by this guy who has this effect. Now you might say, well, what is this effect? You've told us that he was able to meet women, through understanding texting and using social media to set up dates and whatnot. But what is this effect that he had? And really what this boils down to, well, part of it's, having abundance. So understanding that you can use the internet to really set up unlimited dates for yourself. So when you have a lot of eggs in your basket, and you've got eggs in multiple different baskets, you're not going to be spending too much time in any one particular direction, over investing and kind of driving that girl away, sub-communicating to her that you don't have anything else going on. So part of it really is just this mystery and mystique about you, whereas other guys are spending so much time texting their one girl that they're talking to. But you're not doing that because you have lots of different girls that you're talking to. And that's what happened with Robert. But it's not just mystery. Also, it's this skill of being that fun guy that every time the girl gets the text message, she's like excited to read the funny little thing that he said or the fun thing that he said. And that's another thing that you can learn. And that's another thing that Robert got really good at, working through in our program. So I don't wish the drama on anybody, but if you could use a little extra mojo in your life and have this effect on women that would get you the dates that you want in your life to ultimately find the perfect life partner for you, what you can do is click on my profile over here, click the link in my profile and apply for one-on-one coaching. And we'll have a conversation about where you're at now, where you want to go, and what it's going to take to bridge the gap.